28th August 2024, the Speaker of Parliament shall evoke Rule 17, Sub-Rule 1 of the Parliamentary Rules of Procedure and declare Kaunda grounds in Gulu City the official sitting place for the Parliament of Uganda. This proposal has been met with controversy from the public, with some of them appreciating the initiative as it brings Parliament closer to the people in the local community, whereas there are those who are saying this is wasteful expenditure and not being considerate of the burden on the taxpayer. And of course, the opposition in Parliament, some of them have boycotted the sitting and they shall not be proceeding to Gulu for this first sitting. Well, we are here to evaluate the implications of this sitting and what it means for our political trajectory as a country. Viewers, welcome to the Youth Roundtable this afternoon. I'm joined by a panel of distinguished gentlemen, and I hope a lady shall join us along the way. And I shall introduce them to you, and in just no particular order. From the extreme left, which is obviously your right, is an international relations scholar, a lawyer, and also a human rights defender. Carlos Ogekpato is the name. Carlos, we are pleased to have you. It has been a long time.
Thank you. Not my first time, so this is home, and I'm happy to be here again.
You had really abandoned the youth roundtable. Huh?
No, I went for a bigger course to come back as a better person for the youth roundtable.
And we are happy to have you back again.
Thank you.
Next, myself is Joshua Sechiunga, who is the coordinator of the ONC in Luzira Parish, but also the youth chairperson of Luzira Parish. Joshua, it's a pleasure having you for the first time.
Thank you very much. Also, I'm very happy that I have now this opportunity to say that we address everything to the young people. You know, there is challenges are there in the communities, and we lack such opportunities to see that we address the cry we have to the nation, to see that at least we see the change of the transition in this world of ours. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
All right, interesting. Carlos, let me just begin with you and your general perspective. Parliament has been sitting in Kampala. Now they're going to the regions. What is your general overview?
Well, this is just another trajectory of, I could say, more of the same. Yeah, it's more of the same because we are living in a regime that people are very bold to take decisions that, regardless of the popularity within the public, regardless of the repercussions that would bring to a country, decisions of individuals have affected the whole country in very many different dimensions. So I'm not surprised that Parliament has also itself, as an institution, taken this mantle to be part of the things that the society hope could be better. In my personal perception, first, I divide it in different perspectives. One, the reception that the local people, or the perception and the reception the local people, those in Gulu, in northern Uganda, and the rest who are surrounding the very venue that Parliament has chosen. If you look at the different responses from the different leaders within the region, is it a welcome sort of trajectory? Is it something that they are looking forward to? Look at the services within the region. We're talking about the infrastructures, we're talking about education, we're talking about the health facilities, the health centers in the different parts of the region. Well, these are the arguments that Parliament says they are coming to address, the things that they want to address. But you know, one of the arguments also why this regional sitting has been chosen is because they want to bring Parliament to the people. But you can bring Parliament to the people by offering the services and passing policies that can positively affect the livelihood of the people, minus necessarily being present or being physically available for people to just watch you discussing. Because I can throw cold water on this and say, I don't think there is anything that is going to come out very different from the parliamentary sitting that is going to take place in Gulu, except the wastage of the resources. We are talking about 5 billion per region, 5 billion Uganda shillings just days ago, the Chitezi situation happened. Government does not have a proper way out to address the Chitezi issue, but they can fund MPs to go and maybe it's a merry-go-round to me.
Yeah.
It is an opportunity to tour. Yesterday I was watching news. One of the MPs was saying, this is an opportunity for some MPs who have been in Western Uganda and have never reached Northern Uganda to come and see the North and know what the Northern Uganda looks like. But we have Karuma, which is the bridge that has been shut, and it has not been, in progress. We have a lot of other regional concerns. So in that perspective, I look at the perception of the people, the people welcoming it. Concluding that part, yesterday I watched one of the press conferences being done, co-chaired by the military representative and the police representative, the Aswa region. What they were saying is they are not willing to allow people to go on the streets and demonstrate or share out their cry about whatever the MPs are going to do in the region. And this tells you that they are not probably open-minded and welcoming any divergent ideas or any other different approaches that people would think could be a better way of addressing these issues. Then the second thing which I want to just finalize with is having seen the public perception towards this versus the national maybe approach or the national perception. I divide it in perspective. There are actually some people within the ruling government who don't also agree that this is the best approach that we should adopt to as a nation, but championed by the majority of the opposition leaders. The leader of opposition has been on scrutiny for not necessarily unifying the opposition on the position that they should take. Like many opposition leaders are saying, like the DP MPs are saying for them they will proceed because they were not called in a caucus to come out with a general position that we are not going or we are going to Gulu. So if the leader of opposition has taken this step, well, they have the privilege being the majority, but this just represents a national constituency of so many other Ugandans there who do not agree with the approach which they look at as the roads in Kampala, for example. So terrible.
Just out of curiosity, is it a missed opportunity for maybe NUP? Because having parliament come into the region perhaps would have been an opportunity for the party to really galvanize or even, sort of mobilize and recruit. Do you think by them absconding from this process is a missed opportunity, one way or the other? Well,
that's diversionary because if the NUP want to do something of that kind, they could still do it through their secretariat. Doesn't need to go through a parliamentary sitting. I have the information, which I'm not yet very certain of, but it says the president is going to address the parliament on 29th. The presidential address of the parliament is to me, I see this as a campaign. It's a campaign opportunity because what parliament is trying to do, look at the several members of parliament.
Campaign opportunity for who?
For the president, for the ruling party.
That is why I juxtapose the question that isn't it a missed opportunity then for the NUP? Because if the president is seeing this as an opportunity to campaign, then is NUP being shallow to just look at it as, oh, this is just a sitting of parliament and not looking at the broader political
The question
benefit?
is, would they get the platform to do that? Except to speak on the floor of parliament.
Which is the same platform that the president will get.
No, the president would get uninterrupted time and the NUP leaders would be under a certain time frame that would be controlled by the speaker.
Nonetheless,
it's
an opportunity nonetheless.
In such
small,
I don't think it's the opportunity. It's an opportunity, but it's not the opportunity.
Okay, fair
so just to conclude that, I believe that this could have been done better. Like I said earlier, you want to be a parliament of the people, then pass policies for the people. If you want to be a parliament that you want to gain a certain support, you want to affect the public or the population, it is not only incumbent on organizing physical gatherings. It's about taking services to the people.
Wow, fantastic. Joshua, let me hear your own perspective.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I want to thank my brother. He has brought out a point which is so touching. But these regional sittings, me, I'm very happy for them to happen in our regions.
Sure.
Why? Because now if you check that, if you find that we have almost 4 regions in our country, that is North, Western, Eastern, and also Central. Now, if you discover that, to check that, if I'm to look to North, their problems, they are not the same with the Eastern what? Region. Also, you have to embark on that. But this is not the first time these regional sittings happen in the world. It happens in India, also in Canada, although it is very expensive. But also, if you see the countries where it happened, I think they have some changes. And they also promoted democracy in our region. You know, where is saying democracy, but we don't know. But wherever the parliament decide to go and sit in the region, like now North, it will bridge that gap that there is some democracy is going to happen in the region. Because one,
in what sense exactly? How is democracy, enhanced by parliament sitting in Gulu?
Yeah, now before they sit, when I was watching some news yesterday, how they are going to conduct this, and they have already started that. They are going to first make consult people in those regions to see what they challenge, to see which policies they want to be changing their areas. Now, for the parliament to sit, it will be that they embark on what research they have made in those areas.
But we have been having committees of parliament that have been going around the country. So could this be an indictment then on the committees, that the committees have not been doing sufficient work? Because we have had committees traverse the country and go to region per region and pick out the unique issues, bring them to parliament, process them, and present a report to the House.
Okay, now...
So have those committees not been doing enough?
They have been doing their work, but not... as you see that, if you go back to Dega now and you check the region, North region, are these people achieved what they want? If you are to go back and make the research, meaning the parliament to decide to go and sit in these regions, meaning there is a gap. Now, if you say now, if now this parliament decide to go and sit, I see there is easy accessibility of some remote areas. For example, if these people are sent to go back and make this research, consult people on policies to be amended in the parliament, some people don't reach in those areas. One, they will say time. But you first sit and see that the parliament has given a chance to go and sit in North region for 3 days. That time, that meaning all people, all the members of parliament are to put their focus on one thing of the region. Because now they send them, everybody goes to different areas to make research, do what, consult people. You come, you embark on the committee. Remember, for East will bring, for North will bring. Now, there's that gap of you working on everything at that time. But now this has given a government time to see that if we are to concentrate on North region, meaning everything will be sorted, they will consult people and they will know that they will amend those those regions. Another thing also what it will give us, fine, you see that these people have been carrying out, the parliament has been sitting, but there's also transparency and accountability in some areas. That if you check, there are people even who say that, me, I've never seen my MP in my area. And it is true. But now this will force, I know now, even if you check now, the MPs of North region, they're on pressure, trying to see they do their work, they consult, they have engaged people I know. By the time they reach, but there, this brings that gap that if the accountability is given, there's a higher chance of the MP of that area to work harder to see that at least if this parliament is to happen, we live when you have achieved something in our areas. Now, me, I see, okay, regardless that it is very expensive, but this can help our nation, that now we are in the world of transition. Even now, we young people would have been happy that now they have extended these services. It's also now to embark to know. For example, now in Uganda here, we say that changing curriculum, it's very bad now. Are the students, are they not studying?
Okay, so I want to ask a question.
Yes.
What difference does it make for Honorable, let me say, Gilbert Olanya of Kelak North to present the issues of the upper land question while Parliament is sitting in Kampala, vis-a-vis Parliament sitting in Gulu? What difference is, because these issues are as long as the 9th Parliament, 10th Parliament, and
Yes.
have not been resolved. So are they going to be resolved now that Parliament is going to sit in Gulu?
That's why Mr. Moderator, I'm telling
Is that your argument? Just to get you right.
Okay, my argument is find these people who have been going to those areas, asking, bring them on the round table in Kampala here. But now we are in the view that all the MPs from East, West, all of them, they are going to put their concentration where? In North. Meaning, any gap which has been there, it is now the high time all of them to sit and debunk, to leave Gulu when they know that they can give us the policies which they have amended.
Yeah.
Meaning there are chances, meaning although they have been sitting, bring this. But remember what I brought a picture there that these people have been bringing, but also Eastern has been demanding. You check, they are demanding. So now we have a time.
There's been competition for attention.
Exactly.
But actually, I want to bring in Carlos, and just to sort of pour some water into your argument, because I heard the chairperson of the Acholi Parliamentary Group, the Honorable Anthony Akol, saying that the order paper is not reflective of what you're saying. That the order paper is not specifically allocated for issues of the region. It is a general order paper, right? And the argument is that we need to see the issues of the Upper Land question, the issues of the Transitional Justice Bill, the issues of reparation of the lost cattle and things like that. So, do you think, because at least to get hails from the north, do you think that this sitting is going to offer a unique solution to some of those issues?
First of all, I appreciate my colleague for the good comments he has made. I want to start with one thing. When you talk about a region being addressed from the region, it brings the question in my mind that what about if you actually divide a parliament and the sessions, the plenary, and say, for example, this week alone we are allocating it to the north, and you're seated inside parliament
In Kampala.
in Kampala, you're not going to Gulu
Exactly.
to go and discuss Gulu issues. You're saving 5 billion. It's a normal parliamentary operation.
Only that this time round,
Yeah.
the whole week is allocated.
The
issues
whole
of
week you
particular
can
region.
demarcate and say, this week we are going to discuss northern Uganda.
Exactly.
Northern Uganda, that's Karamoja, entirely up to Gulu. Now, in that approach, you have eliminated the expenses that you're supposed to use on the physical travels, on the different allowances and accommodation issues that you're going to have to address. You brought some point about some people have never seen their MPs. There's a famous quote by Nelson Mandela that they will do everything to bring the ballot paper to wherever you are, but not the services. They will do everything to make sure if it is campaign time, these MPs you're saying are not available.
You'll see.
When it is campaign time, they will be available. All the funerals they will attend, all the church services they will attend, all the functions of unrelated
But
things
during
that they
campaign,
don't know.
during campaign,
The fact is they have been there and people have seen them. So if they are there to be seen, you as an MP, that's not your responsibility.
Exactly.
It's actually not your responsibility even to pay school fees and all these other different things. So I am against the idea of regional gatherings simply because it does not save us the resources that we don't have. It is a very scarce resourced country. You brought examples of other countries. These are countries that are way beyond Uganda's weight. They always say don't bite more than you can chew. We are not Canada. Our GDP is not even half of what Canada can do. Now, coming back to your perspective, my brother, Honorable, the leader of the parliamentary group, brings a key point. Because in the order paper, like it said, it's a national agenda. It's just the same parliamentary plenary, same all day, just a different, same old stuff, just a different day. So In other words, it justifies what is the speaker's procedure, by the way, going to Gulu. One of the things she has on her agenda is to go and visit the site of the former speaker, Honorable Olanya, rest in peace, and maybe go and have some regional visits. You know, all this can be provided for. You can send a parliamentary commission to do this. You can assign, delegate the responsibilities, but you don't carry the whole house. And this is still about us as a country security.
Let me just highlight for you some of the key issues that are coming up from the northern region. One is you have the Karamoja famine and drought issue, but also the insecurity question therein. You come to West Nile, there's the issue of electricity, and as to why West Nile has taken this long to be connected to the national grid. You come to Lango, there are unique issues of reparation of the victims of the LRA war and insurgents. You come to Acholi, is where you find the Parliament question and the rest. So, in your view, none of these issues will have the unique chance to be addressed, simply because Parliament is sitting in Gulu.
It has not been addressed. Even these are not new issues. Like we said, previous parliaments have had these issues tabled, and regardless of where it's going to be tabled, these are issues that we will always see the same parliamentary proceeding. If members are not agreeing, they will not agree. As simple as that. So the change of location does not guarantee a change in decision. The change of location only guarantees extra expenditure. It only guarantees time wastage. It only guarantees the wastage of the few resources that Uganda has that could save in so many sectors. In my perspective, as a country, this is not the direction we should take. Because, for example, I want to give you a very small thing to think of. I've been to Beijing, and if you go to China, the Speaker of Parliament, by the way, does not have a designated salary. Yeah, the Speaker is not paid salary. The Speaker knows that is a patriotic work. They are serving the country. In Uganda, MPs get rewards. You say, I have to go to my constituency, you have to give me fuel to go there. Really, it's your constituency. What is your role then? You represent their view. So the commercialization of responsibility, this is what I'm talking about. You commercialize your responsibility and you make it look like you're doing a favor. But it is your responsibility. So
that you signed up for.
Yeah, you signed up for, you came for it. Politics is the art of choosing someone who is willing and able to do something that the people deem that they're capable of doing. We are not sending anyone there. So if you qualified and you went through the ballot and became that person, take up the responsibility. Don't be arrogant to start feeling like you're doing too much for the country, but that's your responsibility you signed up for. So to me, I just conclude by saying this should be a responsibility that should come out willingly and should come out without certain conditions attached to it. It is the national agenda, not the individual agenda.
Okay, interesting. Joshua, let me get back to you. And the question is about because you mentioned something around Parliament is coming to the people, and therefore there will be that maybe connection, and the people will feel that, oh, Parliament is now close to us.
Exactly.
But where does this leave the local government and the whole idea of decentralization? Because we have local governments that ideally should be, the people should feel the local government. People should feel like the government is with us because we have a local government in place. We have the LC5, so does Parliament saying that, okay, now we are going to the people, doesn't it send a wrong message about the efficiency of the local government in some way?
Okay. In fact, by yesterday I was having a jazz with some youth, and he told me that the way you have brought the point that don't you think that these local government will lose their jobs and also they may not feel themselves? It is long, because now if you check the local government, they're in touch with their members of parliament. That one I'm quite sure. Now, extending the parliament, it also helps these local governments, because sometimes you approach a local government person or LOC5 and whatever, he can tell you that, yeah, we talked about everything and we sent, you know. Now, I think it also it will remove that gap of saying that, oh, we amended this, we are just waiting. For example, let me talk about this. You remember these Landlord and Tenants Acts?
Yes.
That thing happened and everybody lacked good information. If you check here in Kampala, if you say, cases can say theirs, you look at MP says, I'm going to reach there. Now, there is this government extending to the people and also the local government. Because if you check local government, they are the people who are direct to, they are the people who are direct to these people in the communities.
That's true.
And that is very good. Now, meaning that these people, they will not lose their opportunities and their jobs. And even they would have been happy. Because also to help them to know what is being amended. You may find some local governments, they don't know what is happening in the parliament. And remember, now these nations to grow or countries to grow, research has to be done. Reading has to take place.
Sure.
Now, if this parliament extends, these people would have been happy. They will remain to their jobs because it's going to sit there for 3 days. Before you work for almost 5 years. 5 years. Why should you be against it? Meaning you have to just be happy that they have bridged that connection. Even you to take back the information, people, it will be easy. And another thing, if you check, to amend these policies in North region, it's going to be in touch to consult. Now the people to be consulted, they are these LOC5. Because as the MP, I can't just come direct to the people.
Sure.
Meaning I'm going to use my people, the LOC5, the local government,
and the structures, at the
and the
local
structures which are there, so that we engage ourselves and we send these reports, meaning by end of the day, we shall be happy that things are worked on and they have to be happy. Even and if I hear someone like a local government saying, no, we don't support this, they would have been happy. Unfortunately, if you check that, I remember, I think Mandela said it, that some political analysts say that their enemies should be our enemies. Now, so other people, they are seeing this parliament sitting in regions, it's like they have created enmity. Yet there are other people who are going to do what? To benefit. And even people, I think, in North region, they are very happy of it. Although we have the other issue of the budget. But if you check, you know, in Uganda, we say that if the government came out and said that we have to organize this, meaning they are willing and they were able to do what? To carry out these regional sittings. That's true. Meaning that this local government, they should be happy because now also it will help them to amend the other programs because Uganda now moves on researching. Yeah. And this is a way of doing some research and also consulting from the rest of the people.
Wow, interesting. Carlos, before you take a short commercial break, let me just end with you. And the question perhaps is in regards to the moral view of Parliament. In the past couple of months, Parliament has been under very hot scrutiny on issues of corruption, issues of misappropriation of taxpayers' money and things like that. So there are those who are saying that this is just a diversion, trying to get the public away from looking at Parliament for who they actually are, which is a corrupt house, a house that does not stand for the people, and things like that. So do you agree with that notion that this regional sitting was sort of a diversion to get us away from what was actually happening, or it is justified?
Ugandans are very interesting because it's quite easy to divert us, right? When the issues that should be discussed are still right there, virgin, Ugandans are quick to jump onto the next one.
We have now left corruption and things like that.
And it's such a thing that the government has mastered very well. I wouldn't be very sure that this is one of the diversionary reactions that they're trying to do to the action that was in place. But just to continue with this, I think parliamentary sittings in the region is part of one, facelifting. Facelifting in the sense that when Parliament goes to the people, and there is going to be, by the way, I predict this, I have not yet seen any routes going to the north, but I can assure you, we will be likely seeing a few groups of people who are planted to welcome these MPs and make it look like it's such a popular thing. And those who are very, very annoyed, maybe those who are not liking the idea, those who plan to demonstrate, they will be blocked away. and in a certain way the facelifting will happen. And it's part of, because at the end of the day they will sit down and evaluate what have we achieved. And part of the achievements, I would put this and leave it on the floor, you guys will be seeing it. Part of the achievements that I'm very sure Parliament will bring on the table is that we have gained the confidence of the public. And gaining the confidence of the public is because we have gone, we have sat there, we have interacted with them, they have welcomed us, and this is part of the agenda. So to me, the bigger picture here is not about the notion of taking Parliament to people. It's going to the public and bringing people to the side of Parliament, but in a way that Parliament decides to narrate. Yeah, and it's just the facelifting for me.
So just to conclude with this, is that to what extent, because you've referred to Ugandans as being gullible.
Yeah.
So to what extent are we gullible?
We are gullible because we actually, the things that should attract our attention are the things that people have given up on. For example, look at the resilience in Kenya. When the Kenyans go on the street, they achieve the first one, they jump on the next one. When we were having a conversation before the show, someone said there is a possibility that this might be the only regional sitting. And many people criticize President Ruto for going ahead and reshuffling his cabinet immediately after the first very violent demonstrations that Kenyans did. And they call it a reactionary behavior of a leader. But this is also a presumably reactionary if they don't go ahead to do that. In a perspective that Ugandans are also very easy to move on, there will be another distraction, and I can predict it can be a celebrity, it can be a local politician doing something, it can be a blackmail, and it's as simple as that. The Ugandans are moving on.
All right.
We're not hungry enough, I think.
Hungry enough. Well, but I know we are not going to move on from the second segment of the Youth Roundtable, and let's take a short commercial break and see you after this. We'll be back from that short commercial break. Well, I'll begin by introducing our third and last panelist for the day, and that is Dr. Esther Nancha, the Vice Chairperson of the National Youth Council. Esther, we are pleased to have you.
Thank you, Comrade Chidega.
Well, let's just begin right away. Before you came, I had sought the opinion of these colleagues, and they were giving us their general comments about what they think in regard to Parliament sitting in the regions. What do you think about it?
Thank you. For me, by the way, I really mind about the budget for the activity, for having the regional sittings. First of all, we are going to be spending taxpayers' money, a lot of it. Yet, actually, there are very basic needs that maybe our government has not looked into. And it's like it's not actually willing to provide those to the petty things, simple things maybe to its people, really, I should say. You look at the activities that are going to be carried out in the regional meetings. There is a dinner, by the way. Tree planting, at least you can think about climate
Climate
change. But that will be a dinner.
Mm.
But around the 30th, the last day
The
of
state
the
dinner.
sitting, that will be a dinner. That means expenditure, really. What happens on a dinner? You've all attended dinners, you know what really happens. There is a lot of spending. And that is taxpayers' money, really. And even in Gulu, my brother, you hail from Gulu district, you know what is there. There are schools that need basic material, really. There are schools that simply need desks, that simply need students that simply need posho and means to go through a day to have a very good, a comfortable studying environment for them. There are teachers, I should say, that have not been paid in that same district where they are going to have the sitting, really. So for me, it is not a very bad idea, but it is not necessary according to what I think. There is going to be spending of a lot of money that at the end of the day should have maybe been put into another venture for the benefit of maybe people of the region. Members of the parliament from the region are being facilitated to go and do consultation every single month, to go and find out what are the issues in the area, in the district, and in the sub-regions, and in the entire region at large, really. So what is too different that they are going to find by having the sitting in that particular region, you know? So at the end of the day, even when they are trying to justify saying that you want to find out issues of the region, but every month a member of parliament is being facilitated to go and do that same work. So what are they doing? Why are they going to be facilitated this entire period for doing something that this sitting is going to actually carry out? For me, I do not find reason for that, having a sitting there. And it's going to actually incur more cost. Because when we have our sittings here in the central at parliament, we shall not thinking about having hotels for people to maybe sleep or something for all those days.
Let me just play the devil's advocate here.
Everyone,
just in a minute.
Okay.
Is that there are those who are saying that, well, the money is going to the community.
Okay.
When you speak about hotels, you speak about the dinner, this food is going to be bought from the local community. The hotels that the MPs are going to sleep in are hotels not in Kampala but in the region. So isn't there an element of economic boom? Boom, I would say, not development per se, but
in the
economic
region.
boom, at least for that 1 week where there will be money in circulation in the community. I don't know, like, is that something that you can also look at? That
would not be a very bad thing, Comrade Chidega. But I want us to think about our country as patriotic people, really. What are the basic requirements of the people of Uganda? What are our basic requirements, Comrade Chidega? You know Gulu very well. You have visited the hospitals, you have visited the schools. Okay, the basic thing. For me, by the way, I really mind about the basic needs of someone to survive in wherever they are staying, to at least have a comfortable life where they are, you know? So first think about maybe the education, the schools in the region, maybe the hospitals in the region. You can also try to develop people's lives through providing good services to them, really. It's not only about giving them money for food, for hotels. It is only the big people who already have money that you're now going to also develop. You know, you're going to support a rich nigger already in Gulu by you sleeping in their hotel, really. I do not see how a local person or Muntu Wawansi is going to benefit from these regional meetings as a person.
Still, again, let me be the devil's advocate here. And there are those who are saying that, well, this money was already budgeted for.
Yes.
So it means that whether you are talking about it now, the parliament already passed that money in its budget, and it was either way meant to be spent for these activities. So does that put also an indictment on the members of parliament that they're not doing their role in terms of appropriation of the resources?
Yeah, then the money was already budgeted for, but then it still comes back people who have to budget as members of parliament. Before we actually comment about maybe having these regional meetings or not, as they were planning for them, first of all, did they consult their people? Because they all the time what we know is they are representing us as people of Uganda, really, from wherever we are coming from. If we are not consulted, okay, now it has already passed. But they should know that before we spend all these billions of money, remember having a president in grounds like Kaunda grounds is not that easy. They didn't come with zero costs. It comes with billions of money, really. So I think members of parliament should, first of all, think about the priorities of our country, for sure. All those issues that are going to be discussed in those sittings are not any new, really. You have to just go do your consultations, and in case you maybe find any other information, a few, 3 or more people or district leaders can be called to parliament. Let them come to parliament and maybe discuss the issues that are pertinent to that area. Other than carrying over 500 members of parliament into Gulu, you know, you have to spend all that money and then later have a dinner at the end of the day. Yes, you're making these other people, the big people already, the rich people have money in their pockets through hiring hotels, through hiring their hotels, through hiring their services. But what about the Muntu Wansi? How are they going to benefit really from this?
Good question.
You know?
Yeah.
For me, that is what I want to know.
So I think let me come to Joshua and see if he's persuaded, because Joshua has been making the argument for the regional sittings that they want to benefit and all. But Joshua, as you respond, the question for me is basically around the issue of the context, that yes, this is happening, but at this point in time, is it a priority? Because we are in a country where the capitation grant for education is only 10,000 Uganda shillings. That is the money that government gives to per student for every student in a UPE or USE school. Only 10,000 for the entire academic year. We have the status of the road network in the Kampala metropolitan. You have seen it. It needs no further explaining. You look at drugs in hospitals. So is this a priority right now?
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Jega. Yeah, if you check, it may not be a priority, as you are saying. But also, we have also to consider, to see that even if it is not a priority, but there is some impact it can add on that, on the nation. One, my comrade sister Esther said that there are schools in Gulu all lead aware that which are bad love. But remember, the members of parliament, as I told you, there are even some members of parliament who don't even reach deeply in their areas. Going back to the other point that this is extending the parliament to the people in the area, it also removes the other remoteness of someone not reaching where he has to do what? To reach. Meaning even these district people will be forced at least to go and carry out the research in their areas. As I told you first, that before you go to present something, you have to do the evidence. Now, this parliament, all extending to the region, there is a way of also discovering what is missing in those regions. As we look at that, saying that hospital bad love, it's not a priority, we have to divert it to go the other side. Yeah, well, it's good, but also it also give the other credit that MPs of different areas can guide that region. Because I know there are some regions which have succeeded in their living, in their schools, to be that students are going to school, hospitals are well off. Also, they need also to provide this guidance to other regions. Now, meaning that it's not a priority as well. We know the country is bad love, but also there is some impact to the small extent which it can add on our nation. Although I may not bring that the full that it will work everything to be done. As my comrade said that these people have been sitting, but now there is a reason why we have extended this parliament and want to see which impact will it bring, because it has been sitting and still we have the same challenges. Yeah, if it extends to the regions, maybe there will be some changes. Because there's this book we read, why nations fail. There's that theory which they say that theory don't work. Now, that theory don't work. Sometimes they back on the geographical, the culture, or even the policies that is some leaders don't reach their people to enrich with them the what? The policies. Now, may I say, let us give that a trial to see that the other cry we have been having, that if they have been sitting in Kampala several times, they give them money, what and what. At least this time, if they extend to the region, at least there will be some change. And at least those schools you are saying and those people and whatever, at least to live that they will also help us to see that there is some change. Omuntu wa see the one we was talking about, there's other chances also to extend, to see how things are done in the what? In the parliament. Because they are not limited to take also part.
Okay.
Yeah.
My brother, for me, by the way, I want to differ. There are committees in parliament. There are members of parliament. There are committees on different aspects in parliament, really. So if you needed evidence of something in a district, does it need over 500 people to go to a certain, really, to go and converge in a certain maybe area for them to discuss that same issue, when there is going to be lots of money, extra costs attached to it, really? For me, I don't see any sense in that as a person. That is my view as a person. Because we have MPs coming from the region, we have committees in parliament that can actually go and find information for that, because we are paying them for that particular role, you know?
Okay.
So me, I do not see how we should carry all the 500 people and make them sit in Kaunda grounds, maybe we are saying we are extending parliament to people. I do not see any sense in that. Do you know how best you have already extended parliament to the people? Whenever there is a sitting in parliament, it is very live on TV. So you can get to know who is presenting that, even on radio, by the way. For me, if I'm not on TV, on UBC watching parliament, I'm on radio listening to what is going on in parliament. So it does not need you to physically come if it is going to incur a lot of more costs compared to you sitting in where you usually sit and you have a low cost, and then use this extra money to at least do something valuable that is adding value to the people of the country. For me, that is my point.
Let me just 1 minute, then after. Okay, Comrade Esther, already I brought the other point that these committees have been there, but they are, if you check, what is the impact you have with the committees?
So what is going to change really? I want to know what is really going to change about people sitting in Gulu.
That's why I bring that. We give it a try because now here there's higher chances that people are direct to their parliament. And they have, because now, good enough, I'm very happy that you are saying Omuntu wa wansi. Also I'm concerned with Omuntu wa wansi. Because if you say that there is radios, there is TVs, there is, because even another thing which I wanted to ask you, they will grant us a chance that also the language in those regions can also be used. Because now, if it is used, because some people...
It is English, it is national.
Yeah, it is fine. Okay, it's fine.
The national language is English.
But now, here I know there is direct contact of these people in the community. No one who won't have...
But you saw the groups that are going to be made. It is the women and the border riders. That information the woman MP could bring directly, or the constituency MP.
There, meaning they have been lacking this information which you are saying. That's why they are reaching there.
Then the members of parliament should be questioned. Probably they are not really doing what they are supposed to do.
Fair enough.
Who's to question them? That's why now we extend there to question them to know. That, for example,
and
now,
finally, before we move on to the next Comrade Chidega, I want to know, are these sessions going to be attended by local people?
Yes, there's
a chance.
Are they going to be given chance to say anything, something?
They are,
or they are just going to attend and listen in?
They are not members of parliament, so I don't think the rules of procedure.
But what they did, wherever the parliament goes to, they consult.
But although the speaker can on his own motion, maybe invite them to speak or something. But the rules of procedure,
there are chances to invite them because they are region.
I want to bring in Comrade Ogek here. And Ogek, the question for me is that we envisage a country where Gulu has a sort of national referral hospital, where Mbale has all these services therein stationed. So this could be a step in the right direction, depending on how you look at it. That in the future, we anticipate a country where everything is almost decentralized to that level. So could this be a step in the right direction, where in the future we want a country where there is you know, Mulago in Gulu,
Exactly.
Mulago in Mbale, and, you know, like that sort of services.
That's the future we want with the resources that are being misplaced right now. This is how I can respond to that question. I rejoined again. My brother talks about these regional things being trial. You know, we should be careful with the way we try and versus our capacity as a country. You cannot say it's a trial and you're allocating 5 billion per region. 5 billion of which could change a lot within that particular region, minus the physical sitting. I understand we subscribe to the same school of thought with her when she says the wananchi, what is in it for them? You know, again, you and I, we come from Gulu, Shidega.
Yeah.
You look at the different hotels that these people are going to sleep in. You know the beneficiaries. These are not ordinary people. How is the border rider going to benefit
At the end of that day.
from this plenary? How is the market vendor, the street side lady, how is she going to benefit from this kind of sitting? Except the possibility of sitting and seeing MPs.
How they look like.
Yeah, how they look like. Oh, okay, this is Semo Uganda. He's a very comic guy. You know, that is the only benefit, which is not actually beneficial.
It is not beneficial.
So,
we don't want to know
in perspective,
them. We see them on TV.
when you talk about the plenary, I had you asking a question whether the common people are going to be given a chance. It's just the same as I have myself been a big follower of parliamentary plenaries, even when I'm not in the country. I make sure I watch the UBC, the online, so I can watch the plenary as it goes on. Nothing changes as a person who is watching on TV versus a person who is seated there physically. By the way, parliamentary plenaries, I did my internship in parliament at some time in the communications and public affairs. I used to be in charge of organizing people who come to sit and attend plenary. It's allowed. You, anyone here can apply, go to the communications department, and you sit and watch plenary. But is your opinion going to be heard? Are you going to say anything? You will just sit up there and watch. This is the only difference right now, is that it's not going to be in the house, it's going to be outside there. What's the history of Kaunda Grounds? You and I who come from there, we know this. Kaunda Grounds is hosted by the very famous events, which could be the main argument here, that Kaunda, the name Kaunda, President Kaunda, spoke to the nation from that ground. That's when the name became Kaunda Grounds. The Pope, when the Pope came to Uganda, went to Gulu, kissed the floor. I think those are some remarkable events that have happened there. So people of Gulu are no longer excited to see this kind of big sittings or gatherings happening here, because it happens there. To me, the idea
it happens and still leaves them the same.
It still leaves the same.
Yeah.
This is for
So
parliament.
all these different things that are happening, whether it is parliament, she said again, we have parliamentary commissions. These parliamentary commissions, we have the Chole parliamentary group. They have always tabled these issues.
The issues of,
if you watch the plenary sitting, you always hear the issue of a Palan crisis. You always hear the refugee crisis, the issues of, they call them what, these people with the cattle...
cattle corridor. Balalo.
The Balalo issues. These are all northern Uganda issues. How far? Since the days
West
of
Nile,
President the Speaker Olanya, all this, nothing changes. So I just want to say something about this. I don't want to call this a parliamentary sitting or a plenary. I will respectfully but disrespectfully call it a merry-go-round, in the sense that it is a way that the MPs are just using opportunity. Oh, we're so bored in this house. What next? What should we do? Let's go to the region. Let's go and tour. Let's go and support our friends who have businesses in that region. Let's go and let people just watch us and excite them. It's a moment of exciting the public. Like you said, you earlier asked me a question. Is it maybe a diversion? Yes, because you're going to excite the public who are going to sit there, watch you, and you tell the cameraman, focus on the excited part of the public, then show it like, look how they're happy to welcome us. and that is the narrative. You're cleaning the image of parliament using false image that you're creating outside there. Are Ugandans that gullible that you should now deceive us to the extent that you prioritize things that are not really, So the last thing, the local people of Uganda need to start taking up responsibilities, that they should know the roles they have to play in making their country better. When you hear some of us speak like this, I don't oppose, I don't also support. I just want what is right. I just want what is good for the country. And if you go to outside of Uganda, for example, I saw a very, very interesting statistics with Uganda Statistics, Bureau of Statistics, something like that. It says out of 100%, like up to 40% of Ugandans own passports. Out of the 40% who own passports, 25% of them actually use them to travel. What does this draw? It means Ugandans are not exposed. We don't know how things are actually outside there. When they teach me, I myself have been a victim, or I call it victim, but I've been a beneficiary of these patriotism trainings. I've been to Chankwanzi, I've been to Kawaweta, Kabalie. I've trained all these different trainings. They're training you patriotism. But you can save yourself as a government the burden of training someone patriotism by simply doing the things that will make them love their country. You cannot train me patriotism. You cannot train me to love my country.
It's a feeling.
Make me love my country by putting services in the right place, allocating them, by letting leaders take responsibility, by being accountable to the people. This is, to me, when we wake up as a country and we go that direction, we shall go the right way. Yeah.
Wow.
This is what
Thank
A
you.
rejoinder.
Yes, I'm coming to you. As you make that rejoinder, also, my final question is with regards to, what is different? We have seen Parliament sit in Kololo, where, COVID tests are a must and things like that. Yes, Kololo is a few kilometers away from Parliament, but we have seen those ones happening multiple times, and you have not come out to criticize them. Now that they're going to Gulu, you're up in arms. So how different are the Kololo ones?
The budget committee, something. Okay, thank you. I wanted to add on what he's saying. That parliamentary group for actually sub-region,
parliamentary group.
those MPs have always been. I've watched sessions where they are bringing about issues of people from the region. They have been bringing out issues, and now I want to ask, actually caution leaders, people in power, that what have you done about those issues that you're now going to have the sessions in their area, really? I do not see anything being solved at the end of that day. You know the issues that are really happening. As Ugandans, for me, this is what I think. I think we just need our issues worked upon. As simple as that. We don't want to see you in our area discussing from our area. All we want to see is at the end of the day, just at least 50% or more of our issues being worked upon. And at the end of the day, we shall be even happy with you. We shall leave you to do whatever you want with the rest of the money or anything. We shall have no issue. All we want is our issues being worked upon as Ugandans, for sure. Because it does not make sense. The forum, the sub-region forum MPs in their forums usually bring about feedback. They bring about the real issues affecting us as people of the region or as people of the area. And at the end of that day, we simply talk about them and nothing gets to be done. Be sure, even when you come to our region, you will not get anything new apart from what you already know. Maybe there should be a strategy of trying at least to work upon our issues. We can get to know that you're really working upon them because we are trying to follow up. There are people in Gulu who are following up always what is happening in Parliament, really. You then need the Speaker and the entire team of over 500 to come into the region, maybe to be there, and then we'd still tell you the same things that you know. But at least if 50% of that, of what we've been presenting, gets to be done, then we are sure that those people actually think about us and budget for us. And so I'm calling upon members of Parliament and the leadership of the country that as young people, first of all, and then the entire community, what we want is our issues being worked upon. We do not mind about anything else apart from our issues, like them, because members of Parliament have presented them, our caucuses have presented them, there is reports from committees. And you know what is really affecting us as the different districts, as sub-regions and regions at large. Let our issues be worked upon, then we shall have no issue with you. Otherwise, we are not happy at all. I'm personally not happy at all with spending that large amount of money. Yet I know there is something small it can change that can there is something, there is something that can change, that money can be used to change my life for sure.
True.
Yes.
Wow.
Then about the Kololo sittings.
Yes.
Remember Kololo, for that one we know. It is something that we know that whenever there is a budget meeting, budget reading, we sit in Kololo and have the president, you know, and the expenditure to that is that limited, by the way. It's not that extra like it's going to be in the regional meetings. I think that is why we are reacting to this.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
Our time is fast spent. We have only 3 minutes to be out of this place. So I'll give you each 1 minute to make your parting shots. Just look to the camera and give us your last words. I'll be with Joshua as I move towards
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Chidega. Me, I won't say that my colleagues are not right. They are right. But as I told you, I think all of us have ever been risk takers. Now here, it's like a risk taking. But me, what I know, good enough, you brought a point that these people have been sitting, we have committees, we have everything. And there is what my comrade Esther talked about. We have to find mechanism. I think this is one of the mechanisms we have started. Going back to the region, to sit, to see that we collect all that information, to see that at least by the end of the sitting, which will be in North region, there will be some changes in different committees. Therefore, me what I'm saying, let us give it a trial to see that at least these people of North region, will they still have the same problem which we have talked about, that we have different committees? It is always bad to say that we have different committees or we have leaders, yet they don't work. This is now the time we go to the ground to see that at least they give us what we need or what we want. Like as we say that we have schools who are bad off, hospitals, I know that wherever we move a step ahead, there is some changes which will do what? Which will come. Meaning now, this sitting, let it happen. However costly it is, but so long as we are going to get the impact in our regions.
Interesting. Esther, your parting shots.
Okay. Thank you, Comrade Chidega. For me, as a representative of the young people of the country, with all the challenges that we are facing, including the recent one of intern doctors needing facilitation from government to be able to do their role as medical interns, for me, I have to caution government and leaders in power. As a young leader that is looking up to you, I kindly request that there are those issues that government can actually manage. There are priorities that can make a person comfortable wherever they are, maybe in the employment sector, maybe in the agriculture sector, maybe in the in our hospitals. Those issues should at least be prioritized and looked up to. I see these regional meetings needing a lot of facilitation from government or taxpayers' money. Yet there are those simple issues that can actually be worked upon to ensure that everyone is comfortable wherever they are. At least comfortable, I should say. Of course, not everyone can live comfortable at the same time. But the greatest percentage of people, young people in particular, a bit comfortable in their country. So for me, I call upon members of parliament and its leadership to look into the budgeting issue for sure. There are those priorities that there are those issues that we should not even prioritize compared to others. We should ensure that we manage at least the social life of people, we make it a bit comfortable, so it should be reflected in our budgeting as parliament to ensure that people in our society are a bit cared for. The issues that they ask for are a bit taken care of compared to spending money without thinking about it. Because I believe these regional meetings are not going to get any more information. Our members of parliament have brought all the issues from the region. Maybe instead of us going to now the region to sit there and spend more money, why don't you at least budget for working upon those issues for every region? Maybe we'll be like, let's have this 5 billion, take it to a region, we find out what are the urgent issues that people want. you know, and then try at least to spend on those issues, other than taking 500 members of parliament to a certain area, spend hotel fees, dinners, what, and at the end of the day, they are the same issues that you're going to get from the region. So, as a representative of the young people, I call upon leaders of government and members of parliament to be strategic and prioritize their budget, their budgeting areas to ensure that they make a comfortable life for young people and the entire community and Uganda at large.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Carlos, you have the final words.
Uganda is a country suffering from a disease, and that disease is the lack of shame. When a society loses the value of shame in it, that society is not the society that will bear any fruits. When leaders make bad decisions and take pride of it, when citizens don't take responsibility, they look at their leaders making bad decisions and they don't take it in their hands to hold those leaders accountable, it is a country that is not going anywhere. As a person who is very interested in the practice of diplomacy, I feel it's also very vulgar for me to leave this show without saying this. In the past few days, Uganda has had very bad experiences with its diplomatic representation. We have seen cases that happen in Dubai, in UAE. We have seen with our High Commissioner in Canada. We still see a lot of other issues coming up every day. I think as a country, it's time we start investing in professionalizing or giving the professions back to the people who actually can execute the profession. We as leaders, we need to start taking our responsibilities seriously and don't take it as a casual or a side gig that you can just go and do anything and walk away with. As a Ugandan, I want our MPs out there to think through again and see if whatever actions they take inside that house called parliament is a decision that will only be for their own good, but also for the national importance of the whole country. I want you to take a decision knowing that today you are an MP, tomorrow you may be a common citizen who might be directly affected by that decision. So I hold you accountable and I say no to these regional parliamentary sittings, no to this merry-go-round, no more to parliamentary expenditures that are costing the country. Thank you for hosting me, and I look forward to a wonderful...
Wow, fantastic. What a way to bring the show to an end. Thank you, Carlos Ugik. Thank you, Dr. Esther, and thank you, Joshua, for your time. Of course, to the technical team, thank you for ensuring that our viewers get this show right on time at 2 p.m. Until next week, same time, same place. Have a lovely afternoon.